Hey English 1102 friends, this is a video going through two poems, Scrambled Eggs and Whiskey by Hayden Carruth and Won't You Celebrate With Me by Lucille Clifton. The reason I put these two poems together is they both deal with a very certain moment of the day, a certain moment in time, not in place but in time, a certain setting of time. Scrambled Eggs and Whiskey deals with the moment that the night turns into the morning. It's about, as you can see right here, the false dawn. If you don't know what false dawn is, it lasts for about 10 or 15 minutes. It is right before sunrise. It is the moment when you can see on the horizon the sky start to lighten up, but the sunrise hasn't started yet. So like you think it's dawn, but it won't be dawn really for another 10 or 15 minutes. The horizon starts to lighten up a little bit and you know dawn is coming. Won't You Celebrate With Me is about the end of the day and this sort of, we've survived another day and let's celebrate that. So we're going to go through Scrambled Eggs and Whiskey first, and then we'll jump over to Won't You Celebrate With Me. Both Hayden Carruth and Lucille Clifton have passed away, so both of these poems are a little bit older, but you don't really feel that in these poems because they're still dealing with stuff that any people might do even now. Scrambled Eggs and Whiskey in the false dawn light. One of the things that's, you get scrambled eggs and whiskey, one of the things that's useful to understand is what scrambled eggs and whiskey have to do with each other. Scrambled eggs you generally think of as a morning thing. Whiskey you generally think of as a night thing. You eat scrambled eggs in the morning, you might drink whiskey at night when you're having a good time or at the end of a long day or something like that. That's useful for understanding this poem because this poem is about when the night, you've been having whiskey and hanging out with your friends all night, when the night bleeds over into the morning and it goes from whiskey time to scrambled eggs time. Scrambled Eggs and Whiskey in the false dawn light, Chicago. So you find out there in Chicago that it's that moment right before the sun's about to come up. They've been out all night. A sweet town, bleak, God knows, but sweet. Sometimes, so sweet sometimes, like tonight. Tonight was a sweet night. It was sweet tonight. And weren't we fine tonight? When Hank set up that limping treble roll behind me, my horn just growled, I thought my heart would burst, and Brad pressing with the soft stick and Joanne singing low. If you can't figure out what they're doing right there, the speaker in this poem is in a band with these other three people, Hank and Brad and Joanne. So they've got somebody playing bass, somebody playing drums, the soft stick, somebody singing, and then the speaker in the poem who plays the horn. And here we are, so they were in a band, they played in a club last night, and here we are now in the White Tower. The White Tower, you gotta assume that's some kind of club or restaurant or bar or something like that, where they, after they finished playing, they hung out together, leaning on one another, too tired to go home. Y'all don't know that feeling. You're tired, and then at some point you go beyond tired, and you just feel all wound up again, like you're too tired to fall asleep, like you've gone beyond tired and untired yourself somehow. Leaning on one another, too tired to go home. So they've stayed up so long, it's like they've gone past tired now. But, and this is a great truth about hanging out with your friends and staying out all night or having some good time like this, later you'll try to tell somebody who wasn't there about it and they'll be like, oh, that doesn't sound too great or that doesn't sound too fun. And what do you always say? Well, you had to be there. That's what you get at the end of this poem. Don't say a word. Don't tell a soul. They wouldn't understand. Couldn't, never in a million years. How fine, how magnificent we were in that old club tonight. So what you get at the end of this poem is, this is so wonderful and we had such a good time, but don't try to explain it to anybody else because you had to be there. Don't say a word about it. Don't tell a soul because you had to be there. You just wouldn't understand. How they stayed up all night. It's right before dawn, it's right before sunrise. They're still hanging out together, too tired to go home. And it was so great, and they had such a good time. And don't try to explain it to anybody else. Don't say a word, don't tell a soul, because they wouldn't understand how awesome, how great things were. So this poem celebrates this very particular moment where they've stayed up all night, and the whiskey time has ended. They've stayed up so long it's scrambled eggs time now. They've stayed up into the morning. Won't You Celebrate With Me has this same sort of celebratory tone, obviously, this sort of like things are great, things are what does Hayden Carruth say, how fine, how magnificent. This is about being fine and magnificent, but the fine and magnificent in this poem is just this sort of survive. Won't you celebrate with me? Won't you celebrate with me what I've shaped into a kind of life? So it's like, celebrate with me that we're still alive and living, and we've sort of found we've figured ourselves out and who we want to be. I had no model. That line is the sort of like, nobody showed me how to become what I wanted to become or be who I wanted to be. I figured it out for myself. I was born in Babylon, both non-white and woman. And you see Lucille Clifton, she's non-white and woman. So she's just sort of talking about the common understanding of that poem is it's a little bit harder to be both non-white and woman. When you're both non-white and woman, it's a little bit harder to shape a life, especially if you have no model. What did I see? What did I see to be except myself? And so it's like I had no model, so I figured it out myself. I did it myself. I made it up here on this bridge between starshine and clay. I would argue that's the most important image in this poem, the starshine and clay. What she's talking about, starshine is sort of like all the abstract things, like your dreams and your hopes and your desires, and you're sort of like shooting for the stars and that kind of, you know, aspirational stuff. Clay is the hard reality. Clay is, you know, in that sort of biblical idea of man being made out of clay and ashes to ashes and dust to dust. So starshine is the like abstract, you know, sentimental hopes and dreams kind of thing. And clay is the like your body and getting up early and working hard, and how you succeed and become what you want to be is some combination of the starshine and the clay. My one hand holding tight, my other hand. So it's like nobody helped me, I just hung on to myself. Come celebrate with me that every day something has tried to kill me and has failed. And so it's like every day something tried to stop me, tried to bring me down, but I kept going. Something tried to impede my progress and it failed. And just getting through every day and succeeding day by day is something worth celebrating at the end of every day. So what you get in Scrambled Eggs and Whiskey is this: we stayed up all night. It's right before dawn. Let's celebrate. What a good time we had. This is end of each day. I'm making progress toward being who I want to be and living the life I want to live, and that's worth celebrating day by day in that moment. That like, hey, we made it through another day. We're doing it. We're making it. In spite of, you know, not having models and not having help, we're doing it, and that's worth celebrating. So both of these poems give you this sort of celebration, although they're celebrating different things, obviously. I hope that helps you understand them and maybe see the connections between them too, especially since they're both kind of about a particular time, the end of the day, the end of the night. If you got questions, be in touch. Otherwise, I hope that helps you.